Welcome to the Heroic English Podcast, the place where we mix English fluency with mindset development. If you want to speak English fluently, you need to work on some specific skills. But if you also work on having a positive and growth-oriented mindset, you'll improve even more. On the Heroic English Podcast, we explore some of the most important concepts in self-development, chat about them while relating them to English, and find ways to put them into practice. Your English gets better and you get better. We're more than just a podcast, we're a vibrant community of passionate English speakers, not just learning the language, but also living it. Join the movement, visit heroicenglish.com and follow the steps to become an English hero. Now that that's out of the way, let's get this show on the road. Have you ever wondered why only a small percentage of English learners get to a really high level of fluency in English? What's special about these learners? Are they just naturally talented? Do they spend huge amounts of money getting the best resources, the best teachers in the world, and that's how they got there? Like seriously, what sets these people apart? What's their secret? Well, there is no one right way to answer this, and it really depends on each individual person. Every person has their own needs, goals, challenges, and how they uniquely navigate through these complexities is what ultimately leads them to success, failure, or somewhere in between. Now, highly proficient non-native English speakers, those that make you go, wow, what's your secret for speaking English so fluently with such an amazing accent, etc., they do have something in common. During their English mastery process, they all incorporated 4 mindsets that are essential for English speaking success. These 4 mindsets have the power to completely transform your learning and empower you in your English journey. So in this video, together with your fellow English heroes, we'll discuss these 4 mindsets, what they are, what they allow you to do, and how they impact your English fluency development. With that out of the way, let's now get into this mindset exploring adventure. Let's do that together right now. Today, we're diving into the power of mindset in effective English learning. I've been sharing a question that we are gonna use to get us talking about this topic. What qualities do you believe contribute to a positive mindset for effective English learning? What comes to mind when you hear that, when you consider that question?
Yeah, I'm thinking about that. One of the positive mindset that you can have is related to be able to communicate in English without the fear of making mistakes, but also without the idea of being perfect. That's a positive mindset. If you try to be perfect, if you try to be like a native speaker, you can be, frustrated.
So Alex here shares his thoughts on 2 things, confidence and fear, but I believe there is another element in this dance between fear and confidence, which is courage. Because between fear and confidence, I think there is courage. Many times we are fearful we are gonna make mistakes, or we are scared to use our English, and that doesn't change until we work up the courage by actually taking action and starting to speak English despite having that initial fear. That's how we end up gaining confidence, and it's this idea that the actions of confidence come first, the feelings of confidence come later. Anyone else? Anything that comes to mind for you? Carmela?
First of all, hi everyone. My name is Carmela and I'm from Mexico. This is my first time here. And regarding the question, I would say judgment. So ourselves and to others. Once we take out that judgmental, I would say, mindset, it is easier to learn English. In my case, that prevented me from open my mouth and really speak English, because I've been learning English for a long time, maybe more than 30 years. That is a shame. I feel bad sometimes that I say this, that I've been learning English for a long time. And it wasn't until 3 years ago that I started to open my mouth and speak English. And I would speak perfectly English in my mind to myself, but not to others.
I love what Carmela says here because it shows that with a mindset shift, you can create massive results in your English. She spent 30 years studying English, learning English, but not really using it. And it wasn't until something clicked, something in her mindset changed, that she then started to speak English confidently. It might be that she actually started taking action and thought, okay, let's just not wait for confidence anymore and let's just start doing it. And that's how confidence came, by actually taking action. And that's how you actually create confidence in your life and in your speaking.
So I think for me, the most important thing is to take out of that self-judgment out of my brain, to embrace those mistakes and to learn from each other, from other people's mistakes and from your own mistake. And I'm applying it.
And I'm sure, Carmel, a lot of people can resonate with that because it's very true. And yeah, fear of being judged. That's one of the main things. I remember like making a video, writing a blog on the typical sorry for my bad English. A lot of people feel the need to clarify that after they open their mouth. They say something and then they apologize and sorry for my bad English. And it's something that it's always caught my attention and started to think a little bit more deeply why that happens. And I came to this idea of fear of being judged and foreign language anxiety, a very particular type of anxiety us English learners have when we speak English. We're anxious about being judged and some other things. You know, you mentioned fear of making mistakes. Yeah, that's a great point, Carmela, there. That really falls under the negative column for things that don't help us create a positive mindset. So great example. So we've got Ahmed and Carlos. Let's hear it, Ahmed.
From my perspective, I think the consistency is the key to learn the language. For me, I need to be consistent to learn the language, because if you are consistent for maybe 2 or 3 hours per day to practice your English, I think you will level up your English quickly. Consistency is the key to learn anything. Maybe you can use a lot of techniques to learn the language, but I think if you are consistent to learn, I think you will reach to your goal.
How do you guys feel about that? Consistency. Do you agree? Do you not agree?
Yes, totally. We must be consistent in every goal that we have.
Yeah, that
is the only way you can get the good results.
Yeah, I think in the most simplistic way that you can really break down the process for getting there, I would say is consistency, one thing, consistency of effort, and then that's one thing. Well, I mean, the word consistency already implies the passing of time. So let's say effort is important, and then add a little bit of consistency, which implies over time, right? Effort over time
Yes.
leads to results.
Exactly.
So that was really good, Ahmed.
And the way how you handle your frustration, because it is not easy at the beginning, is quite difficult, because if you don't handle your frustration, that you notice that, okay, this is not the way, or I'm not doing it in a great way, but I will try, and I will try. How Carmela said, well, she has more than 30 years and she's here because she wants to improve or some things. For some reason she is here, but the consistency, yes, is the key.
Consistency.
And I totally agree. Consistency, I'm sorry.
Mhm.
Yes, and I totally agree with Hamed.
All right, guys. So the breakout rooms are set. 3 groups of 2. I'm going to join one of them. So it's going to be one of them is going to have 3 people. The question is the same. We're going to go on this breakout room for 10 minutes. We're going to be back and we're going to get into the first of the 4 mindsets that contribute to learning English effectively. All right. So see you all back in 10 minutes. So, yeah, let's just talk a little bit more about this question, which is really just to preface what we're going to be talking about in after this phase of the meetup today. What qualities do you believe contribute to positive mindset for effective English learning?
In my case, I think so. I have studied English for as well for the last 14 years, just grammar. But in the last 4 years, I started to speak, or I lost that fear to speak, or
I would say maybe a fancy way to call it, but a bias for action. What you said is what a lot of learners do, maybe studying too much, but not really speaking the language. But if they had a bias for action, actually doing things, taking action rather than the isolated study work. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that, Camila?
I would say in the positive way would be knowing your why, knowing why are you learning English,
Wow.
knowing
Yeah.
what is your goal. For
Mhm.
me, one thing that I always remember why I'm learning English. In my
Yeah.
case, I want to be an ESL teacher. So in order to achieve that, I need to open my mouth and speak,
Absolutely.
but speak like in a way that my student would say, "Wow, I want to speak like you."
Yeah, once you know your why, what you're doing something, what your purpose is, and if the activity of learning English is connected with that purpose, you are gonna figure out the how to do it. That's one of probably the most important thing I would say, Carmela, so I agree with that. All right, welcome back, everybody. So we're gonna talk about, of course, as I said before, the 4 types of mindsets. And the first of them is probably like the least surprising one. You probably have heard of growth mindset before. And that's one of 4 mindsets we are going to explore. What do you think when you hear the word growth mindset? What comes to mind, or what do you know about that?
I always hear people talking about growth mindset related to the capability that you are proving, even though you don't see that.
And maybe just also knowing that you can improve. That's a key part of the growth mindset. Ahmed, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you, Max and Alex. Also, for me, I think growth mindset means that you have the ability to learn the language.
Yeah, absolutely, Ahmed. So let's just really quick go over this explanation of growth mindset for everybody, and then we're going to discuss the question there really quickly. So I'll just read from the document. It's in the chat as well as the question for discussion. So a growth mindset is the tendency for people to believe that their abilities can be developed through hard work. With a growth mindset, you try harder, you want to learn new strategies, and you seek out feedback when you are stuck. One way to develop a growth mindset is to learn a bit more about neuroplasticity, or the brain's ability to change and grow. Indeed, we have the power to change our brains, learn new things, and develop new skills. When we have a mindset that believes this fully, we're more likely to put in the effort required to learn and grow, which helps us improve our lives in a multitude of ways. We're just relating the growth mindset to learning English, but of course, it's much more broader than just that.
Totally agree. When you read the explanation, I thought exactly the same way. Like we have to do hard work, and when we really like try to improve and spend our time like effectively, we could improve. So for me, it's totally true, because it's not like we believe that, oh, I don't have talent to learn English, so I even don't try. I believe that when I put some effort, I could achieve some results.
This is a great point by Agnieszka. If you work hard, results are going to come. And if you are willing to work hard, it means that you do have a growth mindset, because you believe that you can improve by working hard. You see the connection between effort and results. Whereas if you had a fixed mindset, you would think that your skills and your ability was predetermined, fixed, and unchangeable. And so you would be just stuck on this mindset that you can't change, and therefore, why would you even care?
What is the opposite of growth mindset?
Fixed mindset.
Fixed
Fixed
mindset.
mindset.
Exactly. Are there any areas in your English learning process or approach that you may have a fixed mindset. Because I believe that it's kind of like a ratio. Maybe we can't have 100% of a growth mindset. We always have a little bit of a fixed mindset. Maybe not like as a whole, like generally speaking, when it comes to English, but maybe in some areas. Let's go on a breakout room and discuss that there for a few minutes. And yeah, see you all back in 8 minutes. All right. So this is going to be a one-on-one, 2 people. See you there. How can having a growth mindset help you improve your English? How can a fixed mindset hinder your ability to improve?
If you have a fixed mindset, you start to doubt yourself about your learning, about your English skills. So basically, a positive mindset help you to achieve your goals.
I made a video a long time ago about the 3 things that keep you semi-fluent, and one of them is lack of self-belief or self-doubt on the negative side. And I believe that's a fixed mindset. Self-doubt is a fixed mindset. Having self-belief is the growth mindset because you know that you can improve. And when you know that, you're motivated to take action, try harder. By the way, another thing that I wanted to mention, I think you did mention it too, creating new pathways in your brain. And in the text here, it says, we have the power to change our brains, learn new things, and develop new skills. And this part of changing your brain is important because I think that with a growth mindset, we can do that. And what that means for us speaking English is that we gain this thing that I believe is fundamental, is crucial for fluency, which is automaticity. If you're fluent in English, you're going to be able to use your English automatically in a lot of ways.
Right.
You will be able to reduce all this time that you need to translate what you're thinking into words. It's a lot easier when it's automatic, and that comes with really, creating this new neural pathways in your brain.
I'd like to add when it comes to what you said, related to change our brain is something that happens automatically. We need to have some habits in order to have this kind of automaticity, right? If you have some habits like reading or watching regularly something in English, we develop automaticity.
Yeah, with a growth mindset, you do more things, you take more action, you create more habits, and that eventually leads you to better results, which reinforce the idea that you can improve and therefore you do more. And it's a loop that constantly reinforces itself. And the same thing can happen if it was in the negative side. If you had a fixed mindset, self-doubt, I'm not going to do as much and I'm not going to get as many results. And that's going to reinforce the fact that maybe I can improve. So that was growth mindset. And let's now unveil this other one, a positive mindset. A lot of it is growth mindset, positive mindset. A growth mindset is a positive mindset. But what does it mean when we really allow positive emotions in? I'll read this really quickly. A positive mindset is the tendency to focus on the good things in life rather than the bad. People with a positive mindset may use strategies like gratitude, reappraisal, and savoring to identify the good things and increase their positive emotions. Their attitudes are generally optimistic and they tend to expect the best. Here are the definitions of these 2 words that I know can be a bit tricky to understand. Reappraisal is when you change how you think about something to feel better. It is like looking at a situation in a more positive way to handle your feelings. And savoring, imagine you're eating something and you're savoring because it's so rich and tasty. Is enjoying and appreciating good moments. It's like taking time to taste and enjoy the good things around you. Are you optimistic when it comes to describing your process, learning English, your journey, or have you been pessimistic? Have there been moments of optimism and moments of pessimism? I think that's more likely to happen, right? Our journey is not perfect. There are always good and bad moments.
I always have some, I don't know how to put it, but when I'm gonna have a conversation, I always have some negative thoughts when it comes to have a conversation in English? Am I gonna be good at that? Am I have a great experience? But I think it is normal when it comes to doing something challenging, like speaking another language.
Yeah, I think it's just anxiety. It shows that you care. Because if you just didn't care, you wouldn't have that anxiety of, okay, this can be good or it can just make a fool of myself, for example, and I can look bad. And after things happen, and if it was not as positive as you would have liked, there's this opportunity to practice reappraisal, which we just saw here, really changing the way that you look at it and you think about it so that you can handle that moment better. All right, guys, so let's go on some breakout rooms here again. The question is, what's one thing you can celebrate about your English? Just focusing back on this sense of gratitude. What's something worth celebrating? Because this is what positive mindset is all about. Maybe then we can reflect on optimism, pessimism. Have there been moments in our journey where we've felt optimistic? Great, that's a positive mindset. Or maybe pessimistic. That's a negative mindset. The opposite of a positive mindset is obviously a negative mindset. It's all about, how we handle these emotions, positive or negative. Is that clear? That's the case. Okay, let's open up the rooms and let's meet back again in 10 minutes. All right, guys. So a positive mindset, savoring the good things in life, reappraising, meaning, right, something bad happened, but let's just look at it in a positive light. Yeah. What comes to mind when we talk about this? And maybe you just want to answer the question, what's one thing you can celebrate about your English?
When I'm trying to deliver my message to the others and the others understand me, it's something grateful for me, and I feel that I did something good. But if the others all the time trying to just please repeat again, I didn't understand you, I feel bored and I feel judged.
I love what Ahmed is explaining here. Just the fact that you can get yourself understood by other people, that's a great reason to be grateful for. As you progress in your English learning journey, maybe that is something that you start to leave behind. You take it for granted that, okay, people are going to understand me. But, it's always something that you can go back to and just feel the sense of gratitude because you are understood. It's not only that you can understand English, which in and of itself is a great reason to be grateful, but also you can be understood by others when you are speaking English.
Okay, for me, it just happened this morning.
Nice.
I joined a conversation with my speaking partner from a long time, but we stopped like 4 months not talking each other, and we just resumed our conversation. One thing that I have to celebrate is that I felt so good when she told me, "Oh, you have improved a lot." And I love how you are connecting your words together now. So that motivates me to keep doing what I'm doing. So I have to celebrate that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Great way to savor that, right? Yeah, so Alex, you mentioned something at the beginning of the meetup. Actually made me realize that I feel the same way when I listen to songs that I used to listen back in 2009, 2010 in English. And actually, probably, Carmela, you don't know much about my story, but I used to, and I shared this with you guys before, probably but the spark that motivated me to learn English was because I wanted to understand the rap songs that I was listening to back in the day. I'm talking about 2009, 2008, because I really enjoyed them. I loved them so much, and I was such a big rap fan. But I didn't know what they were rapping about, and that kept bothering me. Till one day I said, okay, I'm going to learn more vocabulary. That led me to, okay, I can understand the words. Now I want to put them together. So I'm going to learn grammar. I'm going to practice my pronunciation so that I can actually start speaking. Well, and I was listening to these songs, only understanding separate words, really couldn't connect the dots of what they were saying or anything. And I stopped listening to these songs for years. And nowadays I'm listening more again. And I'm listening to some of these songs that I haven't listened in a decade. And now it's so clear. I can understand pretty much 100% of what they're saying. This contrast that really makes me go,
Wow, I'm really enjoying this and feel grateful about like all the progress that I've been able to make in these 10 years. And that's for me when I'm savoring the moment. I'm really appreciate that moment.
During this month, I've been listening to music more often, more than speaking, and I'm understanding almost everything. I'm really grateful for that, and I've been enjoying to do that.
Absolutely. When you realize, okay, you stop for a second and say, wow, now I can understand things. Guys, let's go back to the main room and let's get on with the chat. We have two other mindsets, and let me look at the time. So we have to pick up the pace now. Let's see, what is that third mindset? We've already seen the growth mindset, the positive mindset, and this one is entrepreneurial. Anyone wants to take a guess what that could be? Entrepreneurial. Of course, you know what an entrepreneur is. Someone who is trying to build a company, build a product or a service, something they want to make money from, right? An entrepreneur. But an entrepreneurial mindset, how can that connect with English learning? I'll read this and let's discuss. An entrepreneurial mindset is helpful for those who want to be entrepreneurs, but it's also a really useful mindset for all of us in the modern world. Modern life is undergoing near constant change, and the types of skills needed for entrepreneurship are the same skills that are most useful in adapting to and coping with, which means dealing effectively with, rapid change and uncertainty. That's why an entrepreneurial mindset can be a crucial mindset to develop. And there are a couple of attributes that make up an entrepreneurial mindset. Comfort with risk. You can make the connection there with English, right? Being comfortable with risk, or being comfortable with being uncomfortable too, getting out of that comfort zone. Creativity and innovation, critical thinking and problem solving, great things for looking at issues or problems in your English learning development through the lenses of problem solving and saying, okay, this is a great challenge for me to take on and see how I can solve this problem. Anyway, initiative and self-reliance, communication and collaboration, future orientation, opportunity recognition, flexibility, and adaptability. So this is a big, big topic, of course. And so just choose one of these and discuss with your partner how can, for example, creativity and innovation help you with your English fluency development, right? Or maybe choose initiative or communication and collaboration. How can that help you? And that is just one aspect of what is or what an entrepreneurial life is, an entrepreneurial mindset is. Any thoughts, any reactions?
I like the idea of flexibility when it comes to entrepreneur mindset, to be flexible when it comes to learn new things, when it comes to study, try to always find different ways to develop your your skills. I like that idea of to be flexible, not focus only on one thing.
And by the way, the word, in other words, tricky to pronounce, right? Can anyone give it a go? Practice it. Right? Entrepreneurial, an entrepreneur. Yeah, it's one of the probably like one of the most typical words that you're gonna watch those videos on YouTube, like 10 words that non-native speakers mispronounce. Entrepreneur.
Yeah, it needs a little bit practice, Max.
Entrepreneur.
Just keep this one.
You'll pass on this one. So yeah, I think everything that's changed in the world with AI, ChatGPT, Google Bard, all these AI tools, having an entrepreneur mindset for adapting or maybe integrating this as a tool for you to help you use your English every day. Well, the entrepreneurial mindset is going to help you adapt to see the opportunity in this. A lot of people see it as a menace, as a threat. Whereas if you have an entrepreneur mindset, you're going to see the opportunity, or you're going to be better able to adapt to it. You're going to have the opportunity recognition here, which is listed. So that's just one example anyway. Let's go into some breakout rooms. There are some things here that the list of things that make up an entrepreneur life. Oh, again, I keep saying the word life. Entrepreneurial mindset. Let's meet again and talk about that. Yeah. How can some of the attributes listed below that make up an entrepreneurial mindset benefit your English fluency development? Just choose one and talk about it, I would say. Agnieszka, so do any of these items stand out more for you?
Sometimes innovation, of course, like using ChatGPT to correct my sentences. And sometimes when, I don't know, he or he correct my sentences, and if I don't understand, I started to ask more, why you correct that way? So is that what I write is incorrect? And how to improve? Or sometimes when he proposed me more sophisticated words, I ask him, but just make it more simple.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a conversation. You have to treat it like that. You can ask it to simplify it, to make it more conversational. You know, there are many ways that you can play around with it. Absolutely. Yeah, that's awesome that you're using it. And that speaks to your opportunity recognition, which is one of the things that make up the entrepreneurial mindset. For me, I really like the initiative one, which is, well, the reason why we're doing this. For example, I took initiative. I said, okay, let's do this. Let's just gather up a few people that are really into English, that really love it, get in proximity of all these like-minded people, and let's do something that's valuable. Initiative and maybe creating my YouTube channel, challenging people to do things, encouraging people, encouraging myself to rely on myself. That's the other thing. So yeah, self-reliance. For me, if I have to just look back at the 13 years that I've been into English, there's probably a very important moment that marked the before and after, and that was when during school I noticed that we were learning a lot of English, but just learning, and the practice part was really, really scarce, right? And so that's when I said, okay, this is something that we need to stop. And I took initiative, and I did the same thing. I told my classmates, guys, let's do something to change this. Otherwise, we're going to become teachers that know all the grammar rules but can't speak English. So what can we do to change this? Here's a suggestion. Let's start meeting every Saturday at 9 a.m. and I'm going to bring a bunch of questions and let's just have a good time, hang out, and speak English. And I noticed that after 3 or 4 meetups, I started to sound a lot more fluent, and I started to connect words a lot better, more fluent. So initiative it's a word that I love, and a word that I try to embrace and make it one of my core values. Taking initiative, experimenting, trying new things.
For me, I think flexibility and adaptability. As I mentioned before, I need to learn the language because this is something related to my job. So I need the adaptability and the flexibility. Also, I need to use the language. Most of the time, I have a meeting with others from other countries, and the formal language that we only speak is the English. So I need to be flexible. I need to use a lot of words in a good way, and I need to deliver my message to them, and I deliver my ideas to the others in a good way. So I need to be flexible. Last month I was in a business trip. It was in Dubai. It was a telecommunication conference, and we were talking. And I have a lot of ideas, and I need to express them to. I was one of the persons that I lead some technical groups. So I need to express my ideas to the others, and the others can understand what I mean in a proper way.
Excellent. And yeah, great that you are embracing this entrepreneurial mindset as well. Love that, guys. Yeah, let's just head over to the main room and do the last mindset. So the growth mindset, the positive mindset, the entrepreneurial mindset, and we're missing the last one. And I'm thinking all these things really turned you into an English hero. And I love the word hero because it really encompasses all the different things that you go through, you experience. Learning English, it's really a heroic endeavor. And that's why I came up with the name Heroic English. It's all about taking on challenges, and that is the last mindset. So let's wrap up here. A challenge mindset is when we face situations like tests or work as either something we can handle, challenge, or something that might beat us, a threat.
It's about how we see the situation and our abilities to handle it, like skills, knowledge, and support. By viewing difficulties as challenges we can handle, we respond more effectively, even influencing our body's response to improve success. So what's an English speaking challenge that you've taken on that has pushed you out of your comfort zone? How did it go?
The challenges, aren't they great? And when we face a challenge, remember we have two options. We either step forward into growth or we step back into safety. So if you embrace the challenge mindset, you are gonna experience a lot of growth, because that means you are gonna be stepping forward into growth much more often than just, okay, deciding to stay quiet, to not do anything, to just stay within my comfort zone. Whereas taking on challenges means you are gonna be pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone. And by the way, in our Heroic English Facebook group, we do these fun Heroic English challenges, which basically it's a speaking practice challenge where we record ourselves answering a thought-provoking question. This week's challenge, for example, is if you could meet any person, dead or alive, who would it be? So we are answering that in our group, and I encourage you to take on that challenge of, well, join in our group, take that initiative and see the opportunity recognition in joining a group of like-minded individuals who are there to support you. That's one part. But the other part is also, taking on the challenge of recording a video, uploading it, and, connecting with fellow English heroes. So do that. I'm going to leave the link in the description of this video, as well as in probably like a comment that I'm going to pin. So see you there in our group.
Right. So it's all about taking on challenges and really seeing something difficult as a challenge rather than as a threat. Can you think of an example maybe where you may have seen where you saw something as difficult and you did it anyway, you took on the challenge? Or you had two options. One is maybe stay quiet, don't do it, shy away from it, this is too difficult, too hard. Or maybe you took the challenge, you did it, and so you have the challenge mindset, right? You embrace that.
One of the worst experiences that I had when I learned to speak English, it was the first day on the call center, English or bilingual, and I didn't speak English. I didn't understand English. Obviously, I didn't understand even the numbers. 8, 5, 6, 3, 2, 1, 0, 8. I'm so sorry. Could you repeat again? I'm so sorry. Could you repeat it slowly, please? Never mind. But I think, oh my God, I will be fired. Today is my first and my last day. It was a challenge, but it was a very difficult moment for me.
And you're doing amazing, Maximo. You've come a long way for sure.
So this is Maximo from Venezuela, and he tells us this crazy story of accepting a job that's in English without really being able to speak the language. So Maximo just went way too far into the unknown and realized that he committed himself to a job where he couldn't deliver. Now, for me, what's really impressive about Maximo right here is that we can see him speaking English fluently, even though he had that experience of hitting a wall and finding himself in a job where the spoken language there was English and he couldn't speak it. But he didn't really give up. He somehow found a way to close that gap, and we can see him now speaking English fluently, and he's actually working in an English-speaking environment right now. But for me, it's impressive how he is telling us about where he started and that first big barrier that he had to face, and how he's now come this long way and has improved a lot.
And it's all thanks to having that growth mindset, challenging yourself. Love it. What's an English speaking challenge that you've taken on that has pushed you out of your comfort zone, and how did it go?
I could say I signed for a challenge, and the first task was record yourself, introduce, and then comment on 10 different people on their introduction. But the next day we have to send messages on Messenger. Took just choose 5 person, and I think it's easier two comments on the main page and then just like pick 5 person, but it takes me like 1 hour to say something, because you don't you have to like talk about different things, not post the same message to the every person. And the third task was like to make your call to somebody, so it's like out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, and that's the thing, the challenge mindset is a key kind of like driver for embracing being a little bit out of your comfort zone. All right, there you have it, English Hero. We covered all 4 mindsets: the growth mindset, the positive mindset, the entrepreneurial mindset, and the challenge mindset. When you combine all of these, you truly become an English hero. You face the challenges, you see the opportunities, you're positive about your language learning journey, and you're always growing. Thank you so much for joining us today on the first ever episode of the Heroic English podcast. Keep learning, keep growing, keep living your English, and until next time.